the question was asked, how do I drop beliefs? Can you get into a little more detail about that? So first, I'm going to get into a little more context about belief dropping, because this is called different things by different teachers. And I think that that can help broaden our understanding here. So Nisargadatta Maharaj wrote in his book that the only important question that we should be asking without stopping is, who am I? And I find that in this case, the question that led to was, what am I? Because it will eventually be understood that who am I is perhaps a little more conceptual than what am I. If I'm not a person, then I am not a who, I'm a what. And in the end, we are not even a what. But along with this question of who am I, we can arrive closer to an answer by negation, by the denial of what we are not. And we can do that by questioning everything in the mind, or in fact in the mind-body experience, or the human experience. So every thought that comes up is a result of programming that is based in duality. Every thought that occurs in the mind is reinforcing this game. Even when the thinking is saying things like, I am not the mind. That belief is not true. The mind is still unnecessarily narrating on behalf of awareness, who requires no narrator, who we really are. When we investigate this, we'll notice that there's a delay. There's a delay between recognition and the narration of it. The thought that occurs is a split second later. Another way that this has been framed is by Ramana Maharshi, who described this as self-inquiry. And it's the same idea. There should be a single focus on the question, who am I? And within that, of course, we are assisted by negation, by the dropping of attachment to what we are not. So when thoughts come up, they result in a chemical reaction in the brain, and then in some kind of outcome in the body. And the closer attention that is paid to this, the more clearly that is seen. And we can start to see that certain thoughts carry with them a kind of signature. If this thought is bought into, then this outcome will happen in the body. So, I'm too old. The thought, oh, I'm too old to start a new career, or find a meaningful relationship, or make new friends, or whatever that comes up. Where in the body is there a subsequent contraction? And this is where we can incorporate the chakras to understand what that kind of root cause is. So first of all, we can set an intention. We can say, I want to become aware of all of my beliefs. Or we can be more specific and say all of my beliefs, opinions, and reactions. And we can start looking for those. It's like if you buy a blue car and suddenly you see that blue car everywhere. At first, most of the negative thoughts are kind of under the radar. They're occurring, there may be some physical reaction to them, there may be this kind of ongoing conversation in the head, and yet it is under the radar that this voice is not me, that it's not true. When that comes into awareness, the power of these thoughts begins to diminish. Sometimes a belief can be dropped like that, and other times it needs to be worked with multiple times. But if we say, it's so hot today and I'm upset by that, I have the opinion that it's better if it's not hot. But that's an opinion based on factors that could change tomorrow, or could change if my job changed. Maybe I want it to be hot. It's good for my plants, or I own a business that thrives in hot weather. These are not universal truths. They're based on the false identities that have been constructed. Beyond that, opinions are pointless because they're drawing this line in the sand about something that is already taking place. And there's a choice in that moment to take this stand or to simply flow with it. It's already happening. If it's already happening, I mean right this second, then it is outside of our control, and there's no point in doubling down on some kind of reaction that's then going to be detrimental within the body. So it becomes this really straightforward line of logic that says, this thought makes me feel unhappy. I can't prove that it's true. There's no reason to hang on to it. And there can be a lot of childhood programming behind this. You may start to notice that when you get stressed, it's in social situations or it's at work. And so we can root this down. We can say, oh, okay, there is stress at work because there's the belief that I have to perform well to keep my job. If the job is lost, then I lose social standing, or the lack of paycheck puts me in, there's a sense of mortal danger. And in a practical sense, there may be something to that, to this, no money flowing in, something needs to be done about it. But the idea that we need to feel bad about it is false. No reaction of that kind is necessary. We can simply do what needs to be done. And I'm borrowing this from Eckhart Tolle, but this became integrated into my process. And I would love to have a flow chart made of this, because when beliefs would take over this experience, when there were big reactions, it seemed the mind could never recall what it was supposed to do to work through this reaction. It was like starting from scratch every single time. So maybe create a visual for yourself, but we can work with this by saying, what can I do about this? If I can't do anything about it, then my only option is to accept it. If I can do something about it, then I will do something about it. And the only other option besides those two is to suffer. So you can either accept what is, do something to change it, or suffer. And you can investigate this until even the mind has to concede those are the only three options. In this way, we start retraining the reactions. We get to the root of them. And we say, okay, I'm in a social situation. I feel stressed. What does this come from? And we can be careful here not to get stuck in the story, but we can say, okay, what's coming up is the memory of being reprimanded constantly, my strict religious school upbringing, or my family environment, or my brothers and sisters. This tendency was instilled to protect in all social situations, to expect criticism coming out of nowhere, let's say. So there's this guarding which is taking place, which is creating a false sense of separateness. before anything has even been said, or in situations where there is relative safety. Nobody in this moment, in this room, may be trying to divide or hurt, and yet the body is entirely in the throes. And this system, our sympathetic nervous system, was designed to help us flee predators. It was not designed to navigate complicated, unspoken social norms. If we're having the reaction of being chased by a tiger, and we're just at a dinner party, let's say, that's an inappropriate response. There's no shame or blame or should in this. Don't listen to what I say. Don't think to yourself or let the mind think to itself and buy into. Heather said, I shouldn't react this way. You are the one who will discern this, and you can do it calmly without any judgment for the human aspect. You'll simply recognize, okay, this thing is coming up. It is an inappropriate response, or it's an outsized, disproportionate response. And simply move to the next step, acknowledging that and then letting it go. And maybe there's a very strong physical response in that, in which case you honor it. Just sit there and let it be there. You are the divine, watching the human play out. The more this is realized, the less the human drama needs to be played into. So when the human aspect is overcome with emotion because it's still acting out old habits, it's okay, because you're the divine. So you switch seats. The body may play out this response, and that's okay. You're observing that happening. So ultimately, we do not need to disassemble our entire belief system. What you'll find is that the human experience gets on board with this after some time. The mind sort of becomes retrained to some extent, and awareness is also coming steadily to the forefront of experience, so that whenever there's a negative sensation in the body, it's almost like an automatic process where we root it back and we say, oh, this feeling in my gut, that's like a survival feeling. This is coming from the queasiness that I have to take a test right now, and that test is going to supposedly determine my future. It's going to determine what school I get into, and this is a very big deal. And then we can say, okay, I see this reaction. I understand the beliefs that are behind this. This is just a test. I am the divine. What works out or does not work out, either way, is for me. No matter what, I am fulfilled. Nothing needs to happen in the relative for me to be worthy. That's all just programming. That's just more beliefs that can be dropped. So this idea that I have to earn my place, that I have to play my part in capitalism, it's not a given. All these things are beliefs in the illusion of duality that can be let go of. We're not denying that duality is happening. We're just recognizing that it's happening as an illusion in the present moment.